Scepter early on, you might just have to use that defensively to break the seal, which isn't what you want to have happen. Because the second you do that, that's when you can't just trigger your ultimate, go up into your Scepter and get free time to give damage out.
You set yourself up for Magnus walking behind you, skewing you back into his teammates, Chrono to come in.
Well, right now, MVP, they are making that nice aggressive style move. They want to control the Radiant jungle, and this is what I was hoping they would do. They're going to, in fact, leave the Viper up on the top lane. It's got extra consumables plus the Ring of Protection, so getting the upper hand on his lane is going to be very, very difficult. It leaves QO to take up the mid solo as always for MVP. He'll be taking up the role as the Death Prophet to go one-on-one with Moo, who'll be playing the Magnus, going for a straight bottle rush. So that's quite an even lane in my mind as far as who can potentially get a lot of farm with the bottle rushing too. It's going to balance out. This top lane might be a little bit more problematic though for the Viper, because Skywrath Mage could actually help to zone him out, and they rotate the Mirana up, so it's actually an aggro tri-lane with Howl as the core Ember Spirit for the off lane, leaving Rabbit to go the the safe lane solo as the Faceless Void. But it's the Faceless Void up against an Omni Knight, as well as a Rubik, as well as potentially a Vengeful Spirit. So if they do manage to catch him out with the time walk down, they could be looking very good.
But I think this favors the Magnus mid, because they've got their aggressive trial in top, and the shorter distance between mid and top rune, the fact they've got these two supports who can guard it for Moo, means that he is going to have a rune every single time it spawns, whereas QO has to walk all the way down to bot rune, and if he wants the supports moving off the lane, that means Void can go up against this Omni Knight quite easily.
Straight in there.
Banana was trying to actually go with the arrow to have a crack at Heen on the top lane, using the Invis rune to be the scouter, while it's actually going to be a different lane where they want to try and find the kill. And so man doesn't have skewer, but they need to get themselves in range. But if they did that, they'd be very deep behind the tower. And they don't know what Magnus, actually, no, they have to, because he has the visible effect of the Empower. So they know he has Shockwave as well as that. But it's at least MVP showing that they want to try and be aggressors on this map and not just hold back and wait for Newbee. I'm also liking this this bottom lane. Rabbit's about to get a crap ton of experience and farm because he's able to fight underneath the tower. But just having that degen aura makes Omni Knight such a great matchup up against the Faceless Void, because it just means consistently he's getting the upper hand.
It's interesting to see what Rabbit goes for, because now obviously he's noticed the two supports have moved off the lane. Time Walk level 1 is going to be great just to try and dodge the heal from Omni Knight, because it's got quite a long cast animation. But later on, he's going to have Time Lock and the Evade. So if Forev gets unlucky, or Rabbit gets lucky and he starts dodging these attacks, then he could turn it around.
That he could. But if he doesn't, he could also lose his life. Like right then, that was a level 2 purification.
Yeah.
Actually, there might actually be level 1 purification. With 1 point degen aura, that's all he was really needing. Rabbit, a little bit of trouble for him. Region's actually with a DD rune. He's actually a lot of damage here. One more attack if he can get it up the hill. He misses up the hill, which means Banana into the corner. He'll deny himself off to the neutrals. MVP, that could have been a really big kill for them, and it could actually be even worse for them, because for Rev, he's a long way down. First hit time lock from Rabbit. The RNG gods are with Newbee today. In front of him, turns Forever around, and this will now be the first blood in the bottom lane. Sunshine will take it.
He just got the mana for heal but couldn't cast it, and that's the difficulty, the long cast animation on that stun on top lane.
Yeah, they're going to try and have a crack here. And that DD rune's still going to work. How the tree lines this time? MVP will get the upper hand against China. So it goes 2-1 on the board. But MVP, they're the ones that take the 2. Obviously, it doesn't really fully count, though. It's a 1-1 because of the denials to the neutrals.
Nice. Oh, the arrow. QO just a little bit too quick for that.
Yeah, he doesn't have his boots just yet. In fact, that should be coming out in the courier right now. Actually, no, he's still only just running a base bottle with Null Talisman. So not looking too healthy on that. But we do see a bit of a lane switch up. So we can move Howl to the bottom lane to go up against the Omni Knight. While up on the top lane, Rabbit's now forced to deal with the off lane. And this is kind of fair enough, because right now on the bottom lane, they have a better chance with how to do this. Searing Chains in Banana, well, he already threw the arrow out. Forev's able to survive. They just have more chance to get a kill here, and Howl also needs the safer lane to farm up. They've already got the Faceless Void practically at a point where he can survive most initiations, and projectile stuns are really poor up against the Faceless Void as well.
So they got Rabbit in his poor man shield and boots and put him up on his top lane. So he's doing decently against the harass from Viper with that 1 level in backtrack. Still annoying.
He dodged 3 in a row then.
Yep.
March is trying to contest that 4-minute rune. This isn't really the safest thing for him to do, And he is going to back himself up. And it's nice regeneration for Mu. So that's 3 bottle charges plus the full mana. And he'd love to commit, and especially when the arrow is going to connect. So this will be the death of March. You'll get a double shockwave out, hitting QO as well. There's no mana for a Skewer at the moment, but Void doesn't have Chrono. He's at 5.5 levels. They pick him up. They'll drag him back. There's already one Crypt Swarm with the Fade Bolt. He'll backtrack a little bit of damage here. And QO just wants one last Crypt Swarm, but he's off target. So he's unable to get that kill on the retreating Ember. While Skywrath Mage in the bottom lane battling it out with Forev, that orb will be able to kill him behind the Tier 1 tower as well. And there is little to nothing that Howl can do about that.
So difficult to deal with. That mana cost on the Purification, he doesn't have a massive mana pool, and no Clarities, no Soul Ring yet.
It's problematic, no matter how you look at it. I'm still waiting for this Faceless Void to hit level 6.
Arrow.
You change
oh, he
so
hits
much
Forev as he TPs in a bot lane. But
look at March. He moves up so far forward. Onto How, in fact. Like point-blank range on How, so the Purification could come in from Forev. But you got Concussive Shot as well as the Orb. That'd be the death of March. Banana leaping himself in to make sure he can get that. While Forev wants to keep up with Banana, but he won't be able to. So a nice little pick-off here from Newbee. They're just getting small little advantages in the lanes. And that's going to really spell a lot of late-game problems here for MVP.
Yeah, especially with Ember and Void. Sleight of Fist into a Chrono is not something you want to deal with. And what do you think this Viper actually goes for? Do you still go for the mech? Because you need to make something happen in the first 15-20 minutes, don't you, as MVP?
In this game, I'd actually probably suggest he builds a little bit more for the middle part of the game. Let the Omni Knight, if he possibly can. I know we still need to see him with Arcane Boots and Soul Ring and everything else. But I prefer to see the Viper bring in the physical DPS, because they don't have that from anybody else. So getting treads, potentially just drums for your team early on, at least for yourself, and then going into the Yasha, into Manta, that might be a little bit more...
And you really do need a ranged hero to do that rather than the melee Omni Knight.
Yeah, I know it's a long path, and that's the reason why my brain is just stopping for a moment, because it's a little bit too long to try and get that physical DPS before MVP want to try and do something with that Viper. So you might be right, just pushing in, getting a mech, getting an Aghanim Scepter, and trying to use them as more control. But I don't see that control helping them if Newbee is capable of getting a good Blink Dagger timing on Mu. He did actually also go with the Arcane Boots on a Magnus, which is not as consistent anymore, because normally with the double runes you're able to pick up bottle charges all the time, and it slows down your Blink Dagger. Nice deny. But it's just one of those things where if Newbee get their combo off, then getting mech and Aghanim Scepter won't help the Viper.
I think the Arcanes works nicely in this game because he knows that the heroes like the Skywrath are going to be coming towards his lane more often than not. And the fact that he doesn't need Blink RP until 10, 12 minutes into the game, when MVP start making that movement, wow.
Whoops, there goes the Ember. Looks like Telekinesis, Fade Bolt, Wave of Terror, and Purification. Able to finish the job on the Ember Spirit. And that's at the same time as Newbee just rotated their supports out. Now Chrono, the creep wave's a little bit too thick here, so the Mirana can't get a good arrow target. But he, being sealed up, Banana will leap himself up, looking for the point-blank range arrow, but he could have just gone for the Starfall. Either way, the kill will go the way of Rabbit. So it will be Newbee getting themselves the off-lane kill.
Sage's Mask on the Void.
Wait, well, really?
Now, I've seen Orchid Void before, but I don't think that's what he's going for. Possibly Medallion mid lane. Oh.
Double damage room with a level 1 Empower and the Shockwave. Looks like he was able to get 2 over on the Death Prophet, and Regen just hanging around a little bit too long. The Skewer is currently on cooldown. Regen with stick charges. He wasn't going to go down to the nuke damage they did throw out just then, but he wanted to be safer more than sorry.
Oh no, Rabbit goes for Ring of Aquil, okay. I thought it might be something more unconventional, like a Medallion Void.
That would definitely be unique.
Yeah.
It would be definitely unique.
I think with the amount of physical damage and power plus the Sleight of Fist from the Ember, it'd be great. But it's not something you really want to go for.
It's still one of those interesting items with the Ring of Aquil that's just so cheap. But at the same time, it can slow down other big things. Like if you're looking for a BKB in this game, the VS and the Rubik are still very problematic for control points. So maybe it would have been good to have that, even though there is a lot of physical damage here too. Heen, well, the arrow's going to be off target. Banana just walks into March's stun. Throws away his life underneath the Tier 1 tower, and Kuro's ultimate is taking away at least half of the life points from the tower. It's going to wear off now, and that'll give all of his life points back again. But they were really hoping to find a kill here, and that's why MVP, they've also got Forev is hovering around the corner near Sunshine. But they're not close enough. Not yet, at least. They can't need March to get the stun off, but he's already sitting at half life. So diving in a little bit too deep on Moo could just spell his very quick death. But with the shockwave down, okay, Marshall taking up the tower. Okay, yeah, they purify him and heal him up.
They went for that a lot sooner than I expected. Arrow. Oh.
Good 5 seconds. Problem is they can't really follow up on this one. Sunshine wants to, but when you got an Omni Knight behind him, you got Arcane Boots on him now, and you got both the Repel as well as the Purification. Getting a kill on that Death Prophet early on is next to impossible.
I wasn't expecting MVP to converge on a tower for another 3 or 4 minutes, simply because you've got Ember Spirit and Void on the side lanes farming freely for a good 2 minutes while they did that. So I don't know if that trade was actually worth it in the end, because they're getting really good levels. Level 8 on Rabbit now, and the Ember Spirit, what's he doing? Level 7.5.
Not to mention the damage they inflicted to the Tier 1 tower in the top lane. The tower trade-off almost happened. That tower's at 141 life points. The only reason why it's not lower is because of the decision made by Rabbit. He does not want to bring this tower within deny range, because they want to be coming out on top as far as this money game goes. And money is still so important, especially when you look at Moo. Like, he just triple stacks up as the Magnus. It's important for him to get that final bit of cash, because with that, that's going to be his Blink Dagger. And especially when he's able to grab himself a regeneration rune from the bottom, denying it to the Death Prophet. There
is almost no vision on the map on the enemy side of the river from MVP here. Newbee control this.
This is really problematic for them, but until they're ready to push over, it may not be worth using the wards just yet. They definitely should be looking at the runes, but you could do that with the heroes for the moment. But the fact, yeah, you don't have a single ward out is not a great thing. Looks like top lane, Rabbit gonna chrono, gonna go over on top of Heen right now. How's in close, he's got the Flame Guard, gonna spirit himself in. Just want to control Heen, not to spam out too much there. But they do get the kill, and the chrono was committed nicely.
Really nice
the arrow, much, just goes back behind its wings. Unable to get the proper hit. While in the middle, meanwhile, QO and Moo battling it out inside the jungle. The phase boost now coming off cooldown, which will bring the Death Prophet ulti in range of Moo. He knows he doesn't want to stop running to throw out the Crypt Swarm. Lets the ulti do the rest of the work, and it will do so. Catches him out in the tree line. While Sunshine, well, he sees the courier flying out. Drops the aggressive Observer Ward behind now. The pings are coming out and saying, yo, Regen, you're going to need a lot of help here. March going to try and provide it onto Sunshine, who took the tower aggro here. He'll go down, and the Moonlight Shadow protecting Regen. They can't see him. You pick him up and throw him away, keeping his distance away from the Flame Guard, trying to use the Spirit to catch up to him, but the Purification arrives for Omni Knight, and Hal is way too deep here. 3 heroes going down. March with a double kill. The Tier 1 tower will go down to Cardi, most powerful unit inside the game, and we level it up at 7 apiece, while Kuro also takes the Tier 1 tower on the bottom lane. MVP, great fight for them. Good experience, good gold.
But those kills were so much more important. Killing the Ember Spirit there, sure, he finished his drums, but he wants to be farming for another 5 or 6 minutes. But that Magnus kill was immense. He was sitting on 2,200 gold, 50 away from Blink Dagger. I'm going to get away. I'm going to get away. I'm going to get my Blink. But no, QO takes him down just before that. He loses 300 gold, and he's got to farm it all back up again.
It's really problematic for him. And with that injection of money coming in for MVP now, you're actually seeing the shift start to happen. We move from just over 2K in the net worth to around 700, and the experience swing of almost 2,000, 3,000 is in there. But at the same time, Newbee's still got a fantastic team fight, and they just got Action Rune. So Haste Rune onto a Faceless Void. He doesn't want to battle up against the Viper. I mean, it did at least force Regen to TP into that Tier 2 tower on the top lane.
So what's the move for MVP now? They've taken Tier 1's mid and bot. Do you go for the one at top, or do you start trying to pressure into the enemy jungle? Because
you take Tier 1 tower up on the top lane, just mainly for the money, so you can finish the Eul Scepter on the Death Prophet.
And then you try and keep this front here and pressure that area so they can't farm their jungle?
Yeah, basically. You want to take the Tier 2 tower in the bottom lane eventually. Control the jungle is one part of it. But the other part is taking out Roshan, and you need to bring down that Tier 2 tower in the bottom lane before you feel really confident in doing so. And you got to give the confidence, like, okay, that's a nice way of doing it too. If you get that kill without having to use the ultimate, Rabbit, okay, there's a good start of the QO, and that actually allowed Rabbit to jump himself away here. The Fade Bolt, the poison attack, he went down to 33 life points. Those pack tracks just saved his life. Not to mention the start of the QO, one basic attack from the Death Prophet, if it connected, that would have been a kill.
Such luck there from Rabbit, managing to get away with a beasting of life.
This really has been an RNG game today. Like that time lock for the first hit in the bottom lane, the miss up the hill, denying the first blood to the Rubik as well. All these things put together, it's just like Ice Frog. He's biased towards China right now. MVP, they need some luck to come their way, and this isn't going to help. RP out, and the Omni Knight just gets nuked. They did commit the ultimate just to kill off that Omni Knight. Now the TP out by Sunshine. There's no disables for any of these TPs, however, and that's why you see Newbee just bail out. They wanted to force out the TP support rotations to come in and then strand them on the wrong side. And they wanted then, okay, you've got people to TP to bottom lane, jump in towards the mid, slide a fist, searing chain, Region, stole time, walk and leaps himself away. How can't keep on with this chase here. He will be slowed up, stunned up, the Spirit's available. On the other side, the Chrono will be triggered onto March as well as he in Region. He can't reach him to help him out, and even then all he can really do is a Fade Bolt, because everything else is on cooldown for the moment. He has time walk up, but the arrow connects in. Full 5 seconds over on Region, and now the blink up was nice purification. Repel is there, and the ultimate out from Forev. Minimal damage, Region leaping himself in. They get the stun over on Banana, and he actually steals Skewer and drags him back up again. This Rubik from MVP is doing so much more than most of the Newbee lineup. While Kuro with that ultimate, again he tries to find a kill in the trees. Will it be in the same spot as his teammate? Practically so. The Skywrath Mage will go down, and the power of the Omni Knight is real, Durka.
Absolutely ridiculous turnaround. Even the Ember Spirit, I mean, Kuro came in from behind with the Exorcism, almost kills the Ember, who manages to get a Remnant up onto the cliff near the Radiant Ancients, runs away with about, what, 50 HP?
Yep.
That's a great turnaround. That Rubik is pulling out the big plays. Time Walk, Skewer, stealing all of those escape mechanisms.
The sad thing was, he was sitting there going, I can steal Chrono, I can steal Chrono. And if he did that, it was on cooldown, that's the reason why he didn't. But if he did that, it probably would have been worse for his team. Getting Skewer at the end and the repositioning ability, it just made the most of it. They were able to pick up the 2 heroes from that. Now we actually get ourselves a Blink Dagger over on Omni Knight. I also like this combination with Omni Knight, the best way to win a lane, Orb of Venom plus Degen Aura.
You ain't going nowhere.
You literally can't run. And then you got these heroes like Faceless Void, for example. He time walks in, and then he's basically caught. Like, he wants to Mask of Madness, but if he starts to Mask of Madness under this lineup of MVP, he's going to get swapped, stunned, telekinesis, controlled, and he's taking bonus damage all that time as well. So it kind of cripples him on that front. And the combination isn't as sweet when you only get like a one-man RP. Like if you only got that, then there's no big Chrono with good cleave damage as well, and you've got to keep that Empower continuously over on that Faceless Void too. Because we've got a Faceless Void that's bypassing the Battle Fury. Yeah. So he doesn't have cleave of his own, even though obviously there's a small stack. But
this is why I was wondering where MVP go, and I posited that they wouldn't go for that tier 1 tower at top simply because of the threat of Magnus. Because if they group up, even if it's just 3 heroes in an area and they get RP'd, that kills their team fight. Because you get RP'd, Chrono, Ember Spirit over the top with Sleight of Fist and Remnants.
March is dead.
Yep.
March is so dead right now. The Skewer's going to drag him back to the creep wave. He'll get the stun over on Moo. The arrow was going to fly in there and also get the kill, but the Chrono committed to Heen. It catches QO on the edge, but he just hit both of them twice. No real kill potential here. And they're going to leap themselves out while Forev comes in. They get the grip over on Banana, and there's your Skewer back in range of the tier 2 tower.
Skewer plus Purification plus Fade Bolt.
Not a bad combination at all. But this is also MVP bringing all 5 heroes up towards the top lane while Hao is now pushing out the bottom. And then the split push becomes real from Newbee. Even though we're not really seeing Hao going for that very quick Battle Fury, he's still well on his way.
Yeah, he's not too far. He should have it by 20 minutes if he continues this rate of farming. And MVP don't have too much control in the Radiant jungle. They've got a nice ward there. But getting in there is going to be the problem. Going up on these choke points, up the ramps, is always going to be difficult if Newbee can spot them out.
That tier 1 tower in top lane, they will finally bring it down. They'll lose their tier 1 tower in mid lane for it, primarily because Rabbit's just ditching out so much DPS. And it's another time walk steal as they're moving over. They found Moo. Moo really slowed up. He's already used Skewer and he cannot Blink Dagger himself away from this. Support tried to come in with the arrow, but that's not even working out. Heen, the Ember Spirit jumps in, jumps back. The Viper will then go down, but they've caught out the Skywrath Mage on the run out. He'll get one little silence over on Region, but Region already did his control abilities before that point.
That was such a great play from Forev here. As they're taking the tier 1 tower, he blinks into this area here in the trees where Moo is standing and blocks him up. So he forces a Skewer away from MVP, but then obviously he's got Degen Aura, the Poison Orb, and he just slows him down and down and down and allows the rest of MVP to just come in and take him down.
Newbee doesn't want to wait for this anymore. They're bringing Rabbit into the mid. They got 12 seconds up for his Chrono, in fact now less. And then the RP is also up too. But really for MVP, let's push out the waves. Roshan's up, they know that. Death Prophet ulti comes off cooldown in 70 seconds time, so in the meantime it should just be all about controlling the lanes. They can't kill off Roshan without that. And then they just get the Aegis the Immortal into the hands of the Viper and get him to fight twice over. And I'll assume it's going to be into the Viper, primarily because Omni Knight can normally keep himself alive, or is rather difficult to kill off. And the Death Prophet, once she goes down, her ulti is gone. So not as effective.
I agree with the Death Prophet, but I would give it to the Omni Knight.
You would give it to Omni?
Because he would be putting Repel and Heal onto the other heroes. Like Viper gets in really close, or Death Prophet gets in close, you Repel and Heal them.
He takes the death.
He takes the death, and then he's got all of his spells. Full mana is the most important thing, but he comes back with full mana, so he's got all of his spells ready to go straight away.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Plus he's got Blink, so he is basically the initiator, blinking in and getting that initial hit off.
MVP is looking for another fight here in middle lane. And while they defend, Newbee know where their movements are. They're actually making a point of it too. Aggressive Observer Ward between the towers, one also up inside the Dire jungle. So they know what's going on there. Their bottom lane's being pressured by just a Death Prophet illusion. I'm still missing this DPS from Rabbit. He's got 2.6k gold. If he's going to go a BKB, then he would have actually purchased the Yoga Club already, or the Mithril Hammer already, and found that damage. And if he's going to go for a Maelstrom, he would have also purchased that. It's like he's trying to wait to see what he should purchase. Hang on. Oh yeah, because the Ember Spirit doesn't work that way. I thought for a moment, I was like, that should have disjointed. Banana, now, into the Moonlight Shadow. They might have enough damage. Yeah, they do. When they swap him in, they make sure he stays in range of that Sentry Ward. They didn't actually need to do the swap.
What was that, the Vengeful Spirit stun?
Yeah, the VS stun. Like, it loses its animation, but it still gets the stun.
I got caught out by that last week in a game. I used Remnants, and I went like half the map away. And I thought, okay, I'm going to TP, I'm safe. And then the Vengeful Spirit stun is still following me, and then, I'm screwed.
Bottom lane, Death Prophet. Wow, this is commitment. This is commitment and a half to kill off Sunshine. They got to get this ulti into Roshan right now. Like this is going to flag from. But Rabbit's taking the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane. They have to make a decision now. You lose your tier 1 tower and potentially take considerable damage to your tier 2 tower up on top lane. And you go for Roshan when the Skywrath Mage is the only one dead. Now, Heem will come in to defend this. The Chrono is available for the Faceless Void. And Hal doesn't want to join him yet. He's already finished his full Battle Fury as well, by the way.
That's interesting. They do give it to the Death Prophet. And she's got a Reaver as well, so she's really hard to kill.
It seems like a little bit too much security into QO. Just a little bit too much.
I wonder if it's just the fact that she was the one there. Omni Knight had to go top, Viper had to go bot, and there was no other option to give it to.
Yeah, that's true. That actually is probably exactly that. Whoop, top lane, Skewer going to be dragging for it back. Purification! Can't get it off in time. He tried to cast it twice.
He even had stick charges.
But he's unable to get it off, while on bottom lane looks like the classic combo of both Chrono as well as Mystic Flare. Able to bring down the Viper. Now it's Newbee who are getting a bigger advantage across the board.
This is where they come into their own. I mean, you look at the top 4 net worth, and you've got the 3 cores from Newbee. They've got their big items, except the Void, who still has 3.8k.
Yeah, he hasn't spent any of this money, which is actually probably a scarier thing when you think about it. You already find these kills out there. What happens when Rabbit spends this 4.3k?
Because for the first 20 minutes, it's been...
And he buys a straight BKB as well.
Okay.
Now, do we agree with the BKB? Like, when you look at the lineup from MVP, when you think about how much damage they dish out... Oh, hello, Region. He was hoping that Mu would reach the cliff with that telekinesis, but it was a very, very hopeful hero. Yeah, but do we agree with the BKB?
I think Manta would have been slightly better, simply because you can dodge the Viper Strike with it, you can dispel the silence, and then it gives you extra attack speed, movement speed, and damage in the Chrono. BKB is going to be good against the silence from DP, which is incredibly annoying as Void, who wants to jump in, get the Chrono off, or jump out with Time Walk. And being stopped from doing that really does damage your team fight. But I don't know. Either of the items I agree with. I think the Mantle, it's slightly edges the BKB.
Yeah. I'm kind of with that one too. I'm also just sitting on the edge wondering who's going to buy the Diffusal Blade.
For the Repel?
Yeah, primarily. Because it's also that thing where you need it. You need to get rid of that Repel before you can try and turn. Now he's going to BKB. There's no Chrono available, and Foreb just triggers off the ultimate. Okay, maybe they're both committing things which they didn't have to be committed for that. Especially when it's only the Omni Knight that's affected by that.
You go all in, I go all in.
Well,
nobody wins.
Chrono's off cooldown, but obviously BKB is on cooldown. But if Mu can get forward, they're going for their trade-off again. Like, Hal's doing damage towards the top. Looks like he doesn't have a Spirit back here to come back, so they just let the tier 2 tower drop. The Death Prophet TP's up, and Hal will retreat himself away to safety. I really, like, right now, with the way Newbee is moving across the map, it almost looks like they're just very content with what's going on. They're getting a little bit of tower trade, they're getting some good farm over on the Ember Spirit, and if MVP try and breach high ground, then they feel they have the advantage because of the team fight potential they have.
They're under no pressure to win this game early. MVP are the ones who need to make things happen with the Death Prophet Exorcism and the Omni Knight giving them that advantage in team fights. Oh, another thing, they've got the Yules on the Death Prophet, so Rabbit building that BKB probably was the better option because he doesn't want to go in Chrono and get Yules up into the air, depending on what targets he goes for.
An undisrupted Chronosphere more than anything else.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect thing for him. Like, for me right now, the biggest problem for MVP is the fact that Viper doesn't have proper farm. He's walking around with an Ogre Club and a mech 24 minutes into the game. I'm not seeing the physical damage required from MVP to actually get a kill here. And what also doesn't help is when they smoke underneath an Observer Ward. And Newbee, like, I can hear him from here just flagging the fact that this is going on. Banana going to be picked up, thrown down. He's still got leap, and he's going to leap himself into the Roche Pit. Unfortunately, he can't deny himself in there. Throws the arrow out. If he tried to TP, it would have been a waste of 100 gold. But they just put 4 heroes into the pit to try and stop him while Faces 4 took the tier 2 tower in the top lane. And he's already up to 2.4k gold.
Look at what Rubik stole.
What did Rubik get?
Moonlight Shadow.
Not a bad ability for him, but I don't know how effective it's really going to be.
Yeah, can they find an opening? Because right now, Newbee are going to be split pushing or defending their base, and they're not going to give MVP an opening in their jungle or in a choke point where they can find one pick off, then another, then another. What happened?
I love it when I'm right.
Very nice.
It was a logical choice now for Rabbit because they need to get rid of the Repel. He's the only person that would actually really buy Diffusal Blade, apart from Mirana, but you can get both of them to buy that. Okay, they just also flagged the fact that Moonlight Shadow was being cast already on the Death Prophet. Yeah, as far as it goes to Faces Forward, he needs to get rid of that Repel very early on. He doesn't really care about, like, having the extra agility is a nice thing for him. So it just works nicely. And this Moonlight Shadow isn't as scary, really. In fact, it possibly could have hurt MVP more because they would Moonlight Shadow in to try and find a kill, and Chrono reveals the invis units. So the second that would happen, it would be just more problematic for MVP. Ember Spirit. Defensive Spirit always in position. They can't find the kill, but MVP will force this tier 2 tower in the bottom lane. You have a Heart and a Plate Mail on Death Prophet with an Exorcism up. You have to do something with this. But you're being pressured on the top lane too. So they take the tier 2 tower in the bottom lane, but the tier 3 tower in the top lane is slowly being brought away by Moo, who has Blink Dagger and Force Staff, and he actually waited for March, and then Rabbit first hit Time Lock. Can't even get this off. Now he does over on Moo, but the damage is done to the support hero.
And now in comes Sansheng. Do they continue going here? They've still got RP.
With Exorcism down, they could. They actually really could. If they could just get one extra kill off, it could just be forcing a buyback, and that would still make it worth it. Oh!
I was going to say, who jumps first, Rabbit or Moo? I think it would be safer for Rabbit to just jump in Chrono, but Moo goes in for the big RP, completely misses.
Yeah, that wasn't great. But now Rabbit, this one will work. He'll get heat. No, he runs out for Regen. He walked outside the Chrono, which means he's been telekinesis up. The timing not quite right. The only kill off the Rubik, who did actually end up stealing Chronosphere, but died as well. You'll Scepter up. That'll allow Moo to finish his TP out. The Sunshine will now go down for the Rubik. There is definitely some coordination issues coming out from Newbee in this game.
You could just hear one of the guys shouting, like, what are you doing? Why did you RP that guy?
He must have thought at the time that he would have walked in to try and battle up against him. But when you do an RP, like this RP was in this region and the hero was up here, he would have had to walk to this point in order for that RP to actually drag him from behind the Magnus into the front portion of it. So, yeah. Life be hard. Life be hard for Moo today. But luckily he's got so much money he could buy a refresher off. The first one misses, the second one will connect.
3.6k gold. Or would you go for BKB? Because again, he's another hero where you do not want to be silenced. Sure, you've got the instant blink in, then RP, but there's always the chance that QO can react and get the Yule Scepter off, depending on how fast he is.
I know, right now I would want to make sure that Newbee had the teamfight ultimates up at all times. And they're going to try and battle up on this top lane. Now, Rabbit, he doesn't have Chrono available, but a Searing Change into Death Prophet, the arrow, oh, good Yule Scepter timing. The arrow just flies directly underneath him. If that arrow connected, they would have initiated. But they've got a lot of support still here from the Omni Knight, who's doing the very, very smart thing. You look how far back he is. Like, you get the Omni Knight sitting back here with the Death Prophet on the front lines, and the nearest people that can initiate are back on these areas. There's no way for them to control the Omni Knight, so he'll always get the Repel and Purification off on the hero that gets initiated on, which means the arrows don't do anything in this game.
But Hao has been off doing his own thing for the past 5 or 6 minutes. A full Daedalus completed.
They're going on him, though. March needs to get the swap, and there it is. They'll get the pick up with telekinesis, but defensive spirit. That magic missile needed to properly connect, which it will do so down on the tree line.
And the Viper Strike.
Wow. But this is, it's still how surviving through this.
QO in his own secret shop.
Okay, Banana and also Sunshine forced to be spectators. They couldn't do anything there. Sunshine did have Mystic Flare. Now the RP will have to be committed, but the Mystic Flare's off target again. March will come in for the stun. Support is rotating in, but now March might have actually realized the error of his ways. Blinkski are going to drag him back into the Newbee lineup. They're going to pick up 2.
You know what else is really good against Yules? Diffusal Blade. Because it's purgeable now.
Look at the ping. The second they realized that that Region was TP'd himself in, they pinged up and moved forward. Newbee do not want to let MVP feel comfortable on this at all.
Omni-Knight has a gem and he's picking up Accident. I'm not sure how well that's going to work out for him because he went for that Blink initiation. I would have thought that tanking up a bit more, maybe even getting something like Blade Mail just to try and return damage that's being put onto him would be good.
Yeah. I also would have preferred to see a little bit more like teamfight orientated lineup as opposed to like, I know obviously it's a wonderful thing to have an Aghanim's upgrade always, but
the amount of money you're expending to get such little return.
And to have something like a Scythe of Vice would also be a really useful thing because you could take the Viper out because both Viper as well as Death Prophet haven't gotten BKBs. And even then obviously Scythe of Vice is actually a nice little thing up against a BKB. It's just that late game control, which may have been a little bit more effective. Rabbit, oh wow, okay. He's going to leap down to Heen. He's got 1 second until the Chrono will come off cooldown. He uses the Purge over on Heen. Now Region will jump himself in, and 5 heroes go on him. Whoops, that was a BKB. That was a BKB when he was maybe a 5% of his life points. They are really making it hard for themselves, Newbee. They really, really are. They're burning through their cooldowns. The combinations are a little bit off target when they're being thrown out. And MVP, like their combinations are a little bit easier. It's swap into follow-up stuns and just as much damage as you can, and Region steals all the great abilities.
See, it doesn't feel like they're under that much pressure though. Newbee are just going out very occasionally, making these little mistakes where they could sit back just a little bit, have Ember Spirit split pushing, come back to the base when he needs to, and fight in this sort of area.
eSF, they're going to have the opening right now for the Magic Missile. The silence on the Howl, but the RP from Moo. This one's going to work with 3 heroes. He's got enough cleave, or does he? No, he doesn't. Region stole the RP back. The Ember's down. The Mirana will join him, and now Rabbit with the Chrono will control forever as well as Region, so there's no follow-up purification, but the stun from March made it so the Faceless Boy couldn't do anything inside the Chrono with that BKB being on cooldown. So
dead.
3 heroes down. We'll actually have Mag come back to the world of living, but there's no RP available, and the bottom melee ranks is already dropped. MVP got what they wanted. They're looking good here in game number 1. And Newbee, they are looking really, really shaky.
So with Rabbit down, is that no Chrono, no damage output, because they don't have the Empowered Void in the midst of things? That was a really big RP. Imagine if it had a Chrono over the top with that Void splashing onto everybody. They would have died within an instant.
It would have been perfect. But this is that problem. That combination just doesn't exist. Now, the Aghanim Scepter is fully done for the Omni-Knight. So he will now increase the Guardian Angel's effectiveness during the games. And Heen's very close to finishing his. Actually, he has actually finished his too, with an extra 200 gold. So they get their oldies to spam map. This Death Prophet is so damn rich. Building into the BKB, gets the Mithril Hammer and the Oak Club, so still a little bit longer to go before she'll finish that fully up. But you already have a Heart Shiva's Guard as well as a Yule Scepter on the Death Prophet. Like, that's just perfect for a Death Prophet. Actually, he actually just sold his items. He's buying something else. He's buying Refresher or Lincoln's. And it should be a Refresher orb.
I don't see it being Lincoln's. But this game has just been back and forth. You know, it slowly looks like MVP making a lead, and then Newbee take it from them.
MVP may not want to be fighting this one. Actually, it's going to be Moo that takes it?
Oh, that's an interesting choice.
I really thought they would have put that onto Howl or Rabbit. Primarily Rabbit.
Yeah. Because it's not like Moo is going to be attacking people inside the Chrono.
Yeah. And they're still going to get the Empowered buff ups. Like, Howl obviously running Battle Fury, but when you want to rack up his DPS and give it a little bit more.
They've managed to find Banana Diffusal Blade pretty much. He just buys it. So that's going to be another way to get rid of that Repel.
Look how quickly MVP are moving. And they're moving as 5, which for them right now, you would think is a bad thing. Like, you think it's a really bad thing considering, like, the Newbee lineup is just a wonderful thing up against a 5-man line. But MVP keep that distance. Look at Region as well as Ferez positioning. This is perfect. They know what they want to do. Box of Death right here. Watch it go. Now Moonlight Shadow, Rabbit, he needs a target. RP from Region was used! He caught 3 heroes in here, and now the Chrono as well. It works against him. This is not what was meant to happen for Newbee. Moo will have to back himself up. The sentry wards are down and say a perfect vision. Banana will get stunned up as well. Farev might be stuck up on the tree line, but he'll blink himself down in a moment while Hao trying to run himself away. Heen on the back tail of him for the moment. Into the tree line, Defensive Spirit. Now the RP will come in from Moo, and Newbee might better get a bit of revenge kills with an MVP overcommittal, but how much damage is there? Hao back out, he will get out to safety, but at the same time, Rabbit, they've lost the mag, they're gonna lose the Faceless Void, he'll bring down the Viper as a way, but they've lost the Emperor as well. It's a full team wipe.
Holy
MVP
crap.
just took out all of Newbee.
Reason living up to his team's name. MVP, absolutely disgusting plays there. Still had the RP, manages to catch 3, then steals the Chrono and locks him in place even longer, so they've got nothing to do in that team fight.
It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant from MVP. That was the game-winning fight right there that Korea can highlight and say, hello, China. Swap, the arrow will connect into QO, which means he can't follow into the attack into Sunsheng. And this may, well, it won't cost him the mid tier 3 tower at least. It might cost him the mid racks, primarily because this. Ember Spirit now buys back into the game. There's no other buybacks available apart from the Vengeful Spirit, but the Death Prophet just had the Refresher Orb arrive. So if they want to commit with the Exorcism, they can do so. In fact, that's exactly what they do. Exorcism will be triggered, they want this tower. But the Sleight of Fist, it's enough to hold him out for a little bit, but with Repello from the Death Prophet, Region jumps in. What's he going to steal? She steals Sleight of Fist himself.
Pretty useless on the Rubik.
Absolutely useless. And how? Well, okay. What are you meant to be doing here? The arrow will fly in. It's off target again. Region a little bit too deep for the moment, but they got what they came for again. Another melee racks to drop, and Newbee, they have to get a revenge kill here. There's no choice. Rabbit, look how quick he's moving. He's trying to get himself another leap into a Chrono. Farev going to get repelled up for the moment as he runs east. Where's your target? Rabbit jumps down. He can't find anybody. They managed to bail out of here perfectly. MVP can't find a single, otter of hero. I mean, Newbee can't find a single MVP hero.
Even with the double Force Staff used on Hao to try and breach that distance, he didn't use any spirits to catch up because he couldn't see anybody. They've got no wards down this mid lane. And now the creeps on bot lane, pushing even further and hammering away at those tier 4 towers.
They have to retreat. There's no other choice. The damage is starting to arrive now for the Faceless Void. It's taken some time. Sure, the Diffusal Blade was necessary to get rid of Repel, but you've got the Maelstrom now arriving. So his damage output's still quite good. How is it? Okay, does he actually have any items over on the crew? No, he doesn't. He is literally a Battle Fury and a Daedalus for a 36-minute Ember Spirit. And that Death Prophet, look at the net worth. It's 22,000. I don't even know. What, you sell phase boosts for BTs next?
Yeah. And then
You'll Scepter for Scythe?
Yeah. Well, once Aegis has expired, then you go for the Hex. But I don't know. Do they keep giving QO the Aegis? I guess they do. Now he's got Refresher. There's no reason not to. Because we always say, those heroes with the long cooldown ultimates, you use it once, you die. There's no point coming back to life and not having that ultimate. But now he's got the Refresher. He can die, come back to life, refresh, and then use it again.
I don't know, because killing him off is just so difficult anyway, that I think if you gave him the Aegis Immortal, the other 4 heroes of MVP would be dead by the time the Aegis would trigger. Just because Newbee would focus everybody else. Now Newbee, making an interesting decision, they want to fight outside their base. They're not going to wait for the tier 2 tower just to drop. The Sleight of Fist will slowly chip away at the creep wave. But the tower, QO, is repelled here for the moment, so they can't Searing Chain him and hold him in position. The tower, even a fell denied there from Hao, just missing the timing, which is surprising.
Got to remember, though, that Reason doesn't have any of the big spells right now, so it's going to be down to Newbee using their big teamfight ultimates, locking some people down, and then not giving them away. But look at the positioning now from this Rubik, all the way back.
They're just using the Death Prophet as bait. The Viper doesn't even want to get involved in this. They want QO to cop the brunt of the attack from Newbee, because one Chrono on him is not worth it unless they can instantly get that kill. Now Farev shows himself, so move, RP, he'll drag him back for the 2. The Chrono, though, it's going to catch all of Newbee out here. Where is your steal? It's a Chrono being stolen now by the Rubik. He puts it over on the side, doesn't really affect many of the Newbee heroes. Moo, though, he's still close enough for that Exorcism to go to work from QO. How he needs to get himself back, but silenced up, can't jump out of the Spirit. It's a double kill now for QO, and then Refresher Orb going in deeper for Sunshine. The Faceless Void, there's not much you can do apart from the 4 staff down. They got him. It's GG. The Koreans will take game number 1 up against China. And Newbee, This is not the start they were looking for in the morning at all. That was just a terrific performance from MVP. To go up against someone you don't feel confident against, and then you play like that. The combos were right, and MVP, Region, that Rubik,
immense, absolutely immense.
It was like the fact that you have 18.5 fantasy points on the Death Prophet is just like an insult to that Rubik who only got 7.1. He played a brilliant, brilliant game. MVP of Game 1.
Definitely.
All right, so for now, we'll have ourselves a break, grab ourselves a beverage, as we'll come back here for game number 2 of our first quarterfinal on the main stage for the IeSF here in Baku.